Welcome back to Dice to Pixels. We're here and we're going to talk about Unity to start with, and then we've got some games that Sarah's going to tell us about.
Yes.
So Unity.
Bastards.
Yes. So there's two things about Unity. Most recently, they had like some death threats and they shut down their office. We might touch on that a little bit, but frankly, that's horrible and we're going to mostly set that aside because that shit should never happen.
Yeah, like if you're doing that, you're being a shit human being. Don't do shit like that.
Yeah, that's ridiculous and unacceptable. However, what is also ridiculous and unacceptable is the pricing change that they suggested, which is
the Unity runtime fee.
Like, holy shit. We were talking about this just a touch before we went live, or clicked record anyways. Unity needs to go bankrupt for the simple act of even suggesting that they might do this. It doesn't matter whether they walk it back, they need to go bankrupt.
Mm-hmm.
They don't deserve to have a company anymore.
Yeah.
So it's better explain what it is
Yes.
that they're being stupid about.
So for those who don't know, which includes Sarah, because we were just talking about it a little bit, Unity is a game engine. So if you want to draw your avatar on the screen, you need a game engine to do that.
Mm-hmm.
There's Unreal Engine. We've talked about it in the past.
Yep.
There's a handful. Apple makes a very basic one called Scene Kit that you can do like basic stuff in it. But Unity is a very popular one because it was cheap to use.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pretty powerful. It's not great, but it's pretty powerful. And it's cross-platform. So you can write it for Android, iOS, Mac, Windows, all at once.
Yep.
It'll just run. So that's where the runtime comes in. So if you use Unity, you write your code, you can do all of your 3D graphics and all of your physics and everything else. You do that using the Unity engine.
Mm-hmm.
And then you release your game. They want to charge. They decided recently that they want to start charging per install of your game for you using their game engine. It doesn't cost them anything for you to use their game engine. Obviously, they want money. Like, them asking for money is not unreasonable. Them wanting more money is not unreasonable. Them trying to suggest that they should it would be like Adobe saying, we're going to charge you every time your image that you made with Photoshop is viewed.
Oh, see, I think I misunderstood at first.
Yeah.
Where I thought it was just per user at the developer stage.
They want per customer.
No.
They want per customer install. So if you install the game and then delete it, and then they may have thought that they were going to generate unique IDs and maybe they're going to get around that. But the way it was worded, they're like, if a customer installs your game, you owe us money for the act of them installing your game.
Yeah, that's no.
They need to go bankrupt. Just for suggesting the possibility of doing this, they need to go bankrupt. They do not deserve to have a company anymore.
So just breaking it down a bit here, they have a bunch of plans that they announced that go into effect January 1st, 2024.
Yeah.
The Unity Personal and Plus, games that make $200,000 or more in 12 months or have at least 200,000 lifetime installs, the developers will be charged 20 cents per install over that threshold.
Yeah. So that's every customer who installs your game.
Yeah. That's nuts. They have one here for Pro and Enterprise, and it's for $1 million in a year and at least 1 million lifetime installs. That's like anywhere from 2 to 15 cents per install over the threshold. But then they answered some questions, and this article is from is today the 13th?
Today's 15th.
Okay, so this is from the 13th. And one of the questions they were asked is, if a user reinstalls, re-downloads a game, changes their hardware, will that count as multiple installs? And they answered yes. The creator will need to pay for all future installs. The reason is that Unity doesn't receive end player information, just aggregate data.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant.
That's some bullshit there.
So we're going to make you pay us for something that you're not even getting paid for. That's especially genius. Like I said, these guys, these dumb fucks deserve to lose their company. What they suggested is just again, the specific reaction of people sending them death threats is completely unacceptable and stupid. But what these guys were suggesting, they deserve to go bankrupt. It is. I feel bad for the developers that work at Unity because I'm sure they had no say in this.
Yeah.
But
The
unfortunately,
higher-ups.
they don't deserve to lose their jobs, but their jobs should not exist anymore. That company should cease to exist like tomorrow.
Yeah.
That is so wildly unacceptable. It's like I said, it is tantamount to Photoshop trying to charge you per view of your image.
Or like someone buying a book and per read of the book, or like per page of
per time you pick it up.
Yeah.
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 Even if it's you like put it down and then picked it back up to read it again the same day. No,
Yeah.
that's two pickups.
Yep.
I might be going a little extreme here, but isn't it also kind of like how Wizards went kind of mental there earlier in the year?
Well, yes and no. I mean, Wizards overstepped and it was a little dumb, but they were charging the publisher for their revenue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Which in fairness, Unreal Tournament, that's something that people have had issues with for a while because the way Unreal does this, and don't quote me on this because I might be wrong, but the way Unreal does this, when I looked last, basically, if you make above a certain threshold, you have to pay them extra. If you make you have to pay for a bigger license.
Yeah.
If you make it below a certain threshold, you have to pay nothing or a smaller license.
Mm-hmm.
The reason they do that is because they want new developers to be able to use their engine.
Yeah, that makes
so
sense.
basically they're saying like, this is the cost, but if you don't really make much, we'll give you a discount. If Unity was doing that, that would be fine. If they said, if you make over $1 million with our engine, you have to pay us $80,000 a year to license our engine. Cool.
Yeah.
That's fine. I mean, that's probably too much. And I'm sure people would be like, fuck no, that's like almost 10% of our entire revenue.
Mm-hmm.
But as a pricing model,
yeah, it makes sense.
Fine. Whatever. You can tweak the numbers. The idea that it would be like Wizards saying, if you write a module, every time somebody plays your module, you owe us money.
Or looks at that module page, or
Yeah.
fucking, or reloads the module page, or
Right.
refreshes the module page.
It's like not only is that just, aside from being criminally stupid, it's also fundamentally impossible, because if I sell you a game today, you could reinstall it 100,000 times throughout your life.
We'll see a number of times that Chad's reinstalled the Messenger and other games just to play
Right?
them over again.
I know. Fuck, I'm gonna have to leave them on my systems now.
Well, especially with things like consoles, because
Yeah.
people uninstall games all the time on consoles to free up space.
Mm-hmm.
And you think you deserve money every time they reinstall the game, you
Yeah.
dipshits?
Yeah.
They need to go bankrupt. Like I said, like just the fact that they even suggested that they would do this, forget whether they do it or not, just the fact that they suggested they would,
Mm-hmm.
they deserve to lose their company. And I feel bad for the developers, but they'll start a new engine and it'll be fine.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's
But
always what happens.
It's been actually really, it's been quite fun seeing a lot of the developers that have used Unity for some of, the Cult of the Lamb developer. They've flat out said that you should buy it now because on January 1st they're deleting it.
Yeah.
And there's been a lot of there's a bunch of articles online to check out of a bunch of developers basically saying hell no, like this is you see as stars.
Yep.
It was made with Unity as well. Sabotage Studio made the Messenger with Unity.
So many
as well.
games are made
Mhm.
with Unity.
Anything that you've probably played in the last 5 to 10 years is probably made with Unity.
I would say that probably
Kerbal Space Program 2.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
KSP 1 and 2.
Tunic.
Tunic, probably 50% of sort of the popular games have been using Unity.
Yeah.
And this like when Wizards did their thing, I was one of the first to say like, hang on, what they're doing, like you might not like it, but it's actually not that insane.
Mhm.
This is insane. Like this should kill Unity.
Yeah.
Any developer that would continue using it now, knowing that this is the sort of shit that they might try and pull in the future, even if they walk this back tomorrow, anyone that continues using it is they deserve what comes to them. I mean, like that is dumb to continue using.
Apart from, you know, the death threats, because I mean, if the stuff like that, that's like a little too extreme. Like I'm not gonna like don't do that. You're a piece of shit if you do that. Don't do that. It's not the people that work at those offices and do the hourly stuff. That's not them. This is coming from the top up.
There's never an excuse for that kind of shit.
No.
But all of the like with Wizards, there were so many people that were like, "Oh, we're never gonna publish anything for D&D again," and I said, "Bullshit." I said, and we're gonna do a check-in at the year mark. We're gonna like episode whatever it is, like 79 or whatever. We're gonna do a check-in and say, "Oh, so Wizards was gonna be dead in a year. Are they done? Is D&D dead?" This will kill Unity. This should kill Unity. Because this would be like Wizards, instead of saying, hey, we're going to charge you for making too much money. This would be like Wizards saying, every time somebody picks up your module book, we're going to charge you.
Yeah.
And if they had done that, it should have killed D&D. This should kill Unity.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see what happens. But if I were a game company right now, like I would be immediately, any projects in the work that we're using Unity, we're scrapping them, we're going to a different engine, and like it immediately we would not be using it anymore. Because even if they walk this back, clearly there is a culture.
The damage is done.
Yeah, Unity, this is the sort of thing that company considers acceptable.
Yep.
This wasn't even like pitched in a back room. They announced this. So yeah, Unity is probably dead. It should be dead. Which is interesting because, as I say, like probably half of the popular games in recent years have been Unity games.
It's either made with Unity or it's Unreal.
Pretty much.
Like,
those are the two, pretty much. Unless you make your own bespoke engine.
Yeah, like Capcom has the RE engine that's used in a lot of Capcom games, and I know Ubisoft has their own engine.
And I think Bethesda has their own engine, and like I know No Man's Sky built their own engine, but like most companies use Unreal or Unity.
Either Unity or Unreal, so.
Especially smaller studios.
Yeah, and that's really the shitty thing that sucks is like if you're like a small indie developer and this is your first kick at the can and you create a game with this engine and it does gangbusters. It's like Stardew Valley or some shit like that, right?
Yeah. And
it just rocks. And now here's these bastards coming in saying like, hey, by the way, anytime somebody installs this game, you're giving us some money. Like that's
well, and that's why going back to the Wizards thing, because I think people will compare these two. Going back to Wizards, theirs was a more reasonable thing because they were basically saying like, hey, if you're going to publish something new, these are the new terms. Unity's basically saying like, hey, even games that you previously published, if you want to keep releasing them, if you want to keep offering them for download, these are the new terms. And it's like, whoa, that we already made an agreement. That's already published. So yeah.
So here's a question then.
Holy shit.
Yeah, here's a question then. Do you think some of the more popular Unity-based games that have come out in the past, do you think some developers will, say, remake them in like Unreal?
That's a hard one to answer because
I imagine the tool sets are vastly fucking different.
Yeah, so they are. It's not like you can take one and just drop it into the other. But the reality is that there's sort of three buckets of effort that go into games. The first, and arguably I would say the biggest, is the assets. So that's your graphics, your story, your whatever, like any text in the game, all that stuff needs to be created. It needs to be translated. It needs to be made for any different platforms because even with Unity, it might run on an iPhone and a Mac, but you're probably not using the same graphics on the two. Maybe, but probably not. So that's, in my opinion, that's the biggest bucket because that requires the most diverse skill set. the person who writes your text and does translations is not the same person that's doing your graphics, probably, unless you're a very small studio.
Yeah.
Fair enough. There's the development, which probably is the second biggest bucket, and that's where you would have to redo everything from like not everything, but basically everything. But then there's bucket 3, and unfortunately, I think you have to throw it all out too, is the testing.
Yeah.
Now, certain studios don't seem to test their games, so they're off the hook. But for any studio that actually does proper testing, like if you're rewriting it in Unreal, you've got to do all your testing again. So I guess it comes down to, are they still selling enough copies that it would be worth basically 2/3 of... it doesn't work out that way. It's probably like half the total effort, because it's not like each bucket is equal. But I'd say probably half the total effort of a game. Is it worth reinvesting that? Are you going to sell enough copies to make it worthwhile?
Mm-hmm.
And for older games, the answer's got to be no.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, The Messenger, for instance.
Yeah. Yeah.
Presumably, it's not selling enough that it would be worth it. Presumably.
I mean, I know I bought like 6 copies of it.
Yeah, but you're
not going to buy 6 more.
I mean, I fucking would.
If you had to, yeah.
I love that game.
Bad example. So I would assume that a lot of these games are probably going to die on the vine.
Yeah.
They won't be available for download because the studios don't want to risk, any future bullshit with Unity, and they're probably not going to remake them.
No. Or they'll just do sequels on new platforms or whatever. I wonder if this
you'll see a lot of that.
Yeah.
I wonder too if this is going to spark developers to start creating their own engines.
I have always been a little grumpy that so many people rely on Unity, and I do hope that it does spur some people. So KSP, Kerbal Space Program, was one that there was in KSP 1 especially, there was a lot of stuff that didn't really work the way it should have, or it was really slow or otherwise, because it was written in Unity. Unity was never meant to be like a high fidelity physics simulator. It'll handle jumping and throwing and shooting and all that stuff fine. But like when you start doing like multiple body simulations of gravity, it's not meant for that.
Yeah.
They should have done their own engine,
and
they didn't, because Unity was easy.
Mm.
And obviously they still didn't with KSP2. I mean, it's a different studio, but I would really like to see more studios make their own engine, but it's a pretty significant investment. So, and at least if you use Unreal, which the fact that anybody's using Unity these days kind of shocks me anyways, because Unreal's so much fucking better. With Unreal, you get those cool tools like we were seeing where it auto generates, like it looks at your terrain that you've built and like auto generates more for you. It's like that.
Yeah, that
come
was really
on.
Cool. My only fear, though, if people start making their own engines, is we're going to end up with basically what Bethesda has done at this point, where they're using a newer version of their engine, but it's still...
Every game is Skyrim?
Oh, my God. Well, not just that, but it's still like... It's still not good, because we were talking about last week how many... Oh my God, you were not kidding about loading screens, door loading screens,
it's
just
wild.
to go into a shop.
Yeah.
And there's nothing in the shop. Put it as a kiosk. But anyway, that's besides the point.
No, it's wild.
Yeah, like that would be my fear with so many different engines, is they're going to get stuck in the rut of the same one, and we aren't going to have the performance that we've become accustomed to over the last few years.
I agree. It's a double-edged sword. If you make your own engine for a game that you're passionate about, for the first game, it's probably going to be amazing.
Yeah.
But then if you reuse the same engine for the second game, it's going to be a lot like your first game.
Yes.
Which is exactly, you're right, what happened with Bethesda. And that's why Starfield feels like Skyrim, is because, well, it is. Yeah. It's using the same engine. So it'll be interesting. I mean, the thing is, somebody out there is already financing a new Unity, like a new company to take on, to pull developers from Unity and make a new engine that's what Unity was before they screwed this up. But
they'll probably call it something like White Knight or some shit. You know?
Probably, yeah. But yeah, what they tried to do was profoundly stupid. Like I said, even aside from the criminal stupidity of like trying to milk that money out of developers, the fact that it's literally impossible to do it that way, because like, oh, now I have to put a cap on the number of installs my game, because like if I charge $10 for my game and you're taking 20 cents per install, I better only ever let them install it once.
Yeah.
Because, like, otherwise, all my fucking revenue is going to you. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if they're going to walk it back at all.
Oh, they will.
Yeah. I wonder how long it will take them to walk it back.
I wouldn't be surprised if by the time this comes out to YouTube, if they've already walked it back.
Well, I mean, considering that the current CEO of Unity Technologies, John Riccitello, used to be the CEO for Electronics, President and Chief Operating Officer for Electronic Arts.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised.
No, it's an EA-esque move for sure. But like, they have to walk this back. Aside from anything else, it's not a policy that can possibly exist. It's not possible.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if it's walked back by the time this goes live on YouTube or soon after. But I also don't think it'll matter.
No, the damage is done.
Yeah, like you can't do business with a company that's stupid enough to, like, if Adobe said, hey, we're going to start charging you per YouTube view for anything that was done with Premiere Pro.
Nice.
I would be downloading DaVinci Resolve and deleting Premiere Pro tonight, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's no choice. And it wouldn't matter if they then said, oh no, unless it was an April Fool's joke or something, it wouldn't matter if they then said, no, we're not going to do that. I'm like, I don't care. You're the kind of company that would do that.
Yeah, that considered it enough to make the announcement.
So I'm done with you.
Yeah.
Like they got to the point of announcing this publicly. It's not something it's not a leaked memo or something. They thought they were going to do this. So even if they walk it back, it doesn't matter.
Yep.
It's crazy that they would do that.
Yeah.
So
Unity equals yuck. So
yeah.
Yuckity.
Yeah.
Was-ity.
Yeah. Anyway. Sarah, what's up with this Monster Hunter now?
Yeah, we talked about it a while ago. I think it was announced. I don't know. It was announced someplace. It's the new
Sometime, someplace,
yes,
in the past.
Yes, it's the new game coming out by Niantic. Yeah, I always say the name wrong. But it's Monster Hunter,
which, in case you didn't know, Niantic did Pokemon Go and Ingress.
Yes, and this is the new version of those two games, only in the Monster Hunter world.
Yeah.
And it's definitely, I would not say it's going to, it may or may not have the same impact that Pokemon Go did. I don't think it appeals to the same range of audience, and it's not as like cutesy and family friendly as Pokemon Go.
Well, you're not like capturing monsters.
No,
you're
fighting them.
You're killing them.
Yeah, to upgrade gear. So I think for the three of us, we'd probably find it more enjoyable. One thing, so basically what you have your character and it's just tapping the screen for your attack, whatnot. There's a dodge, there's a shield that you hold, and you're just fighting different monsters, getting resources to upgrade your gear to fight more monsters. It's Monster Hunter. That's what it does. But what I really like, and it was in the announcement too, is there is multiplayer options with it. You can have other people join in on your monster hunts. So so you can recruit random people out and about. I haven't come across any situations where I can recruit anyone, but granted, I haven't dove too much into it because I have a day job. Right? But yeah, it's I like that aspect of it. It seems pretty cool that way. There's different biomes where there's different types of monsters that you'll find in each one. They all have their weaknesses like you would expect. And then you can actually zoom out the map really, really far to see where each of the biomes are in your general vicinity. And they're marked with different colors. And you can also, there's symbols. I don't know if this is something in the actual Monster Hunter games because I've never actually played any of those. But there's markers on there that show the different monster types. If like if you're hunting after a specific one to get a specific resource, you can plan your walk to that place, and then there's different resources you can pick up like iron and stuff.
That's pretty cool.
I find it rather than with Pokemon where you kind of wander around and just happen across things, I think just from my limited experience with this one, I'll probably do a little bit of a walk this weekend to test it out some more. But it looks like you can find what's in your general vicinity and target where you want to go, and you can basically develop your walking path or whatever, your route based off of whatever you want to collect, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah. Okay.
Hmm.
That's
It'd be
kind of cool.
ironic if there was monsters across the road from us because the wall did come down. That there's a retaining wall across the street from
It
our
was-
house.
they
and
did it.
Came down. And it
Yeah.
was those damn monsters.
Yeah.
Fucking monsters.
Our worlds
So-
are blending with it. That's what the storyline is.
Kill those bastards.
I will.
Yeah.
I will.
Hell yeah.
Kill 'em all. Yeah, speaking of games, speaking of companies that reuse their engine and each game
Right.
looks the same. No, that's cool. Apparently, Pokemon Go is having a major like kerfuffle right now because of the PvP stuff. It's
Mm.
I don't know, it's broken in some way. I haven't actually paid attention to it, but Twitter was awash with people pissed about PvP on Pokemon.
I kind of love that game is still like
Yeah,
played so much, and it's been continually developed since it was originally released.
yeah. It says a lot about. I think it says a lot about Pokemon because.
Yes.
Like Ingress, they're the same. It's the same game as Ingress. There's no
Yeah.
difference.
No, it's all the same nodes and everything.
But man, it had staying power. It'll be very interesting to see how Monster Hunter does
Mhm.
because, and I suspect Niantic thinks the same thing
Yeah.
because it's like, are we just going to be a one-trick pony where it's like we've got Pokemon and that's it, that's all we'll ever have,
Mhm.
or can we actually like cultivate a new audience?
Yeah, I think it will depend largely at the beginning, at least, for depending on where their larger audiences are for the Monster Hunter game. Where I don't know if it's more popular like in Japan in those areas.
And that
yeah.
was my
Yeah,
first
it is.
thought. I'm
Yeah.
assuming yes.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the Monster Hunter games do.
And
much
like
better
I know
there.
there's a pretty strong fan base in North America, but it's definitely nowhere near as big as Pokemon.
Yeah.
Yeah, Monster Hunter's always been one of those series where like Monster Hunter World came out and I looked at it and I seen all the trailers for it and I'm like, God damn, that looks really fucking good and I
Mhm.
want to give it a try.
There was a
But then I gave there was one that came out on Game Pass. I think it was Monster Hunter Rise.
yeah.
So I decided to give that a go and I don't know what it is, but I cannot get into a
It
Monster Hunter
just-
game.
yeah,
I
it
have
wasn't
such a hard
clicking.
time getting into it.
Yeah. I think I like the idea of it, like looking at it and even watching the trailers. It really interested me too.
Mhm.
But I think the skill that is required to actually
Yeah.
beat the monsters is beyond what I'm capable of right now, which is unfortunate.
I mean, I'm pretty sure I could do it. It's just
Yeah.
Yeah,
It just
I
didn't
think it's
click.
more the time sink.
Yeah. There's
Like
that too.
it's to me it's almost like one of those games where if you don't start playing it when it comes out, you're kind of constantly playing catch up. There was another one like something similar to it, but it was a free to play game called Dauntless
Mm.
that came out. It's kind of similar, but it's a more cartoony, like it's more cartoony version of a Monster Hunter game,
Okay.
and it was okay too. But yeah, I honestly, it's now that the more I think about it, I really do feel it's the time sink.
I think Chad just doesn't like games.
No.
Clearly not.
Yeah.
No.
Chad.
No.
Neither one of you likes games.
No, well,
No.
see, since I actually liked 2 games recently, now Chad has to hate games. That's
okay.
the-
So I'm next.
yeah,
Okay.
once Chad likes a game, next it'll be, yeah,
Okay.
you're gonna hate everything for a
I
while.
literally
Okay.
sang the praises of Sea of Stars last week.
I'm just kidding, buddy. Monster Hunter the movie actually, I was gonna say is it wasn't too bad.
There's a Monster Hunter movie.
Yeah, and it wasn't terrible.
Man, we need
I mean,
to
it was, but it wasn't.
I think I need to make a list of all of the video game movies.
Twisted Metal. Danielle and I just watched the series.
Oh,
It's actually really good.
I want to see it just because Samoa Joe plays
Sweet Tooth.
Sweet Tooth.
Oh, he was fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, I even tweeted about it on Dice to Pixels. So that's like one of the few tweets I've actually put out. I actually highly recommend it if you've got the streaming service for it. I think it's on Peacock.
Mhm.
my expectations were medium because I was like, it's going to be an action sequence TV series. So it'll be like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was actually really good. I really liked it.
Oh, shit.
And they set up a sequel, like a second season.
Nice.
Well, I'd
at the
hope
end of
so.
it.
There's several games in the series.
That's right. Yeah.
They're all
But,
so different from each other too.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
very much so. But yeah, Sweet Tooth was like, it was all great, but Sweet Tooth was just so good. Yeah, that was really good.
Yeah.
I'm very pleased with it. If you've got Peacock or anything that it's on, you should watch it. Give it a watch. If you don't like episode 1, you may or may not like the series, but we watched episode 1 and we were like, oh, this is worth a shot.
Yeah.
This is definitely worth our time.
Yeah.
I might want to watch that. I remember Twisted Metal 2. That was the one that I was in high school, and I remember there was a bunch of us that would go to my one buddy Dave. He used to live like a few blocks away from school,
Mm-hmm.
and he had his PlayStation. So we would go there at like lunchtime, and we just play like Twisted Metal 1-on-1, like the fucking, oh my god,
Yeah, it was fun.
blowing up the Eiffel Tower and all that shit. Like it was really cool how you could like change the landscape of the map by destroying certain things in it.
Yeah,
So like knocking the Eiffel Tower over and
Yeah.
But goddamn, it was so fun, man.
they were great. Actually, I was meaning to pull out my PS4 and because I think it's on, or was it Xbox?
No, Twisted Metal's a Sony game.
Yeah, it's PS4. Yeah, because you can get the old version of it on PS Now. I think.
Possibly.
I think so. I'm pretty sure I've seen it. And I was thinking I should play it again because it was fun. I mean, I'm sure it doesn't hold up, but it was fun.
Yeah, it was.
I think we should figure out a time and play it all together.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we should. Yeah, for sure. We got to do more streams like that where we get together and
Yeah.
fire up the cameras.
I remember with Twisted Metal 3 because that was the only one we ever had, and it was, I don't know if this was just a conversation Chad and I had one time, and it was one of those discs that you could put into a CD player and listen to the music.
Mhm. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was also because the first two games were made by I think it was the developers that eventually became Sony Santa Monica. I think. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. But the guy that produced the original God of War, and I can't think of his name, David Jaffe. He was the developer, the lead on those two projects.
Oh, okay.
But with Twisted Metal 3, Sony decided to take it like actually under their banner, and they had a different studio make that one. So it was one of the more not well received versions. Twisted Metal Black, when that came out on the PS2, holy shit, was that one good.
Yeah.
Oh, that one was so good.
Yeah.
And then we just never, at least I can't remember any other ones, unless there was probably some that came out on like the PSP or the Vita.
Well, there will be a new one for PS5.
Yeah, after the show, yeah.
Yeah, I assume. I mean,
Maybe it's time for car combat games to kind of come back, because I remember there was during their heyday, there was one that came out called Vigilante 8, and it was Twisted Metal, except it had like its own little a lot of it was kind of 70s 80s kind of that era kind of vehicles and stuff, and it wasn't bad. But yeah, I think a Twisted Metal now, like with all of the online capabilities that we have,
yeah.
I think that would be that would be such a good little run.
So
Yeah.
apparently there was a 2012 version for the PS3, and it doesn't
interesting.
say it's a remake. It looks like, I mean,
Yeah.
presumably it's essentially the same as a remake, because like, how much are you really going to
Yeah.
change it? But yeah, I'd be shocked if they don't make a new one.
And it said that World Tour is available on PS4 and 5 right
Yeah.
now. So
Yeah.
I think maybe the closest that might be available now is called Wreckfest. Do you remember that one? Well, I mean, you get to drive. It's more of a racing game now.
Yeah,
but you get to
that's-
beat the shit out of each
it's,
other.
it's not the same.
You can race on couches.
Yeah, but it's not the same.
No, it's not.
This is like actual car combat. Like there's no
Yeah.
racing involved at all. It's like you're just
Yeah,
ripping
yeah.
around the map and you're
Death matching. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Whereas Wreckfest is like a racing game. Like, yeah, you could. It's
I'm surprised that there isn't one already for the number of like PUBG type games and just all that style of drop-in PvP, like large PvP games. Why there isn't? Well, I guess World of Tanks kind of is.
Yeah, World
Yeah.
of Tanks is in that. I mean, it's nothing like Twisted Metal, but
No,
it's definitely in
but
the
like
same sort of
vehicle
yeah.
combat. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually like World of Tanks. I wish it was less money grabby than it is,
Mhm.
but I really liked it. My buddy John and I played it for a long time, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's one of those games though that's made like a million times better by having like an actual crew play together. Yeah. It looks like Destruction All Stars might be Twisted Metal-ish. I've never heard of it. I'm just looking this up. But
yeah, that was a PS4 game. Yeah, I think you're right.
It looks similar.
And it had like a Sony characters.
Yeah,
like Kratos and all that.
But we should just play old Twisted Metal.
Yeah.
I'm 99% sure the PlayStation
Mini?
Retro that I have over there,
Mhm.
like the re-release thing, I'm pretty sure it has Twisted. I'm like 99% sure it has Twisted Metal.
I think. So that'd be fun. That'd be good old times.
Yeah.
You mentioned streaming.
Yeah.
I understand that
I'm
you plan on streaming tomorrow.
In theory, unless I'm a delinquent, right after this premieres, I'll be live on. Yep.
We said streaming, not streaking.
Not streaking.
Streaming.
I will almost certainly be live on YouTube. I may also be live on Twitch. I haven't really decided yet. I was going to talk to you guys after we finish filming.
Mm-hmm.
We still have to figure out if our Twitch channel is something we care about. But I will be live. My intention is to be live right after the premiere ends. So I will nominally, I'll hang out in the chat during the premiere. And then as soon as it ends, my intention is to go live. So,
yeah.
And I'm going to have it set up so that if these guys are
we got our set
around and want to join in, they'll be able to dial in remotely as well.
Yeah.
We can heckle him.
Or you can just
Live.
show up and come downstairs.
There's that too.
Whatever you like.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've decided that I used to live stream a fair bit in a previous life, and I've kind of been missing it a little bit. And also, you know, it's nice to talk to people on Discord, but every once in a while it's nice to have, it's not face to face, but something approximating that.
Yeah.
Face to screen.
Yeah, face to camera.
Yeah.
But yeah, so today, for you right now, I should be live.
September
Oh my God.
16th.
You're live
16th.
right now?
That's right.
Oh, wow. You're watching us. Oh, my God.
Yeah. So, and then I'm not going to make any like lofty promises, but it's something that I would like to do a lot more often is go live just after the premiere.
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
so yeah, we'll
Right
see.
on.
Cool.
Hey, I finally finished Sea of Stars, by the way.
Oh,
I have not yet.
I finished it last night and, well, actually, sorry. I got an ending.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
because there's more than
There's-
one.
Yeah, because there's certain things that you can do to get the
Yeah.
true ending, and I've done all those things, and now I'm working towards the true ending.
Oh, okay.
But holy crap, man!
He was fangirling in a big bad way.
I was serious because you'd see these things from the messenger, and I'm just like. And Sarah's laughing her ass off because like, oh my God, that's this, and I'm just like,
He fangirled.
I loved it, man.
I don't mean this in a bad way or a negative way at all, but you're going to be in a nursing home like 85 and you're going to be like, I remember in the messenger.
I'll still be playing the messenger probably.
He'll have a messenger themed wheelchair.
Probably.
That game lives in your head so fucking
I love
hard.
it.
Yeah,
I
I have
cannot
to play it.
It's fucking so good. And Sea of Stars is like right up there too.
I agree. That's what makes
Yeah.
me think I need to play Messenger more than anything. I was already probably going to because you've talked about it so much, but
Yeah.
Sea of Stars is great, and I will once I finish it. I've been kind of picking at it because I've also been playing some Starfield, and I've also been dealing with other stuff.
Yeah,
but Yeah, Sea of Stars is great, and I'll
Yeah.
probably check out Messenger afterwards.
I'm going to say this right now, and like I don't know if anybody from Sabotage Studios will ever see this, and if you do, great. But I want to thank you, everybody on your development team, everybody at that studio. Thank you for Sea of Stars. Thank you for the Messenger. These games brought back a feeling in me for gaming that I hadn't felt since like the old NES, SNES days, where games were like you had like a finished product in your hand and you know all that kind of stuff. The music's been memorable. I constantly hum these tunes in my head, and when I heard some of the remix versions in Sea of Stars, I geeked out. But man, thank you, every single one of you that worked on this game. You're all awesome, and I'm looking forward to your next project.
Well, there you go.
There's a short.
I'll
Beautiful, man.
I'll clip it. I'll clip it and I'll tweet it at them.
Like it's
yeah. No, I mean I'm not quite as sold on Sea of Stars as you are. But it is a wonderful game.
Yeah. See, and this is what I like about the little triangle that we have here, right?
For sure.
Is that each one of us are into like a different set of genres and games and all that stuff.
Yeah, we
right?
do not like all the. I mean, we sometimes we like the same things, but
we have good overlap.
There's nothing.
But there's
there's nothing that we're like all like, oh my god, it's the best. I don't think so.
Vampire Survivors, I think, was the only one.
Well, okay, us and every other fucking human
and
on
Stray,
the planet. But,
and Stray.
I
think we were all.
Well, I think it falls in the same category. Like, I think you two liked it more than I did, but it was again great game. Like, there's definitely things we all like, but I don't think we've run into anything that we were all like, oh my fucking god, this is amazing.
I think we
Vampire Survivors a little bit, but literally every human being on the planet loved it.
I think we all kind of had hopes for Starfield, but in the end, we also kind of knew that, I mean, Starfield's a Bethesda game, so
I was hoping for more out of it. I think everybody was hoping for more out of it.
I think we were also hoping for a lot more out of Diablo 4 as well.
Oh my god! Yeah, well, we got nothing. So
well, it's ironic because bringing up Stray, there was a bunch of PlayStation exclusives that came out around that time, and a lot of them now are coming out on Game Pass. So there was one, Solar Ash was one that I remember I played last year.
Okay.
It's very bright and colorful. It's more like a, I can't even think of another game. It's if you ever played like Alto's Odyssey or something, you're like sand surfing and stuff.
Okay.
There's some combat in there, but I played it on PlayStation 5. It's on Game Pass now. It was just released on that. I'm probably going to play it again because it was a fun little little romp. Spirit Fair is another one.
Yeah, that
it was on Game Pass before, but now the Game of the Year edition's on that, and I'd never played that, but Sarah did.
Yeah, I didn't get like super far into it. I don't think I elevated a few characters, but no, it was. If you want, it's a nice cozy game and it's cute.
Right.
But there's one that's coming out on the 19th called Lies of P, and it's Pinocchio. It's a kind of retelling, I guess, of the Pinocchio story, and it's a Souls-like, and it's been receiving really good reviews. Unfortunately, we haven't played it yet because it's obviously not out yet, but it's a day one release on Game Pass, and I am gonna get it, but already I kind of have a little on it because I guess it has weapon breaking.
Oh, fuck that.
So I'm still going to try it. I'm going to give it a go. A lot of people have said this is kind of like another Bloodborne or similar to Bloodborne. But like the imagery looks really cool. You're fighting a bunch of like steampunk era robots, I guess. It looks interesting. I'm going to try this, and probably next week I'll talk about it some more. But
I mean, I don't necessarily absolutely despise weapon breakage as long as it's not like it needs to be done gently.
Yes.
Zelda went way too far with it.
I think you and I are used to the weapon in armor degradation, like in World of Warcraft.
Yeah, you got to repair it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if you don't, it will eventually more or less break, not physically, but.
And I'm also I'm also okay. There was one game, and I cannot remember what it was. I'll have to see if I can pull it up at some point. It would let you repair it, but it only repaired to a certain percentage of its original. So like when you got it, it was pristine, possibly, and then like you could repair it, but each time you repaired it, there was a chance that it would sustain permanent damage.
I think I know what you're talking about, and I can't think of the game.
Cannot think of it, but
Part of me wants to say Oblivion, but I don't think it was Oblivion.
No, I don't think so. And yeah, it was like you could repair it, but there was a chance that it would suffer degradation, and so eventually it would be worse.
Mm-hmm.
But like you'd usually get a handful of repairs out of it, and then it would start to degrade. And that's fine.
Yeah, that's actually really interesting.
Yeah, I'm on board with
that's
that.
Cool.
But like Zelda, where it was like, oh, you hit something 3 times, that weapon's gone. It's
and
like,
it
fuck off.
explodes in your face.
It's like, come on now.
Like even in Oblivion, just how the weapons and the armor, it wasn't so drastic, but it was like gradual over time. And
Yeah.
like most of the time, whenever I would repair something in Oblivion, if it hit like the 75% mark, then I'd repair it.
Right. Yeah.
But like it was never game breaking. It's not like, oh shit, I'm doing less damage with my sword.
Just disappeared.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
Oh, that massive club! You hit it something 3 times, and now it's not. It's not that it's broken; it's that it doesn't exist anymore. Yeah. No, weapon breakage can be done okay, but if it's Zelda style breakage, fuck that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what I'm going to be playing this coming week. I mean, I'm going to play some Starfield. I'm going to play some Sea of Stars. I downloaded For the King a little while ago on Steam.
I played that a little bit. Yes.
How is it? Because I started it and it looked really cool.
Yeah, I think you'll like it.
Okay.
It's kind of turn-based combat, and it's also like the overworld is kind of like a board game where you're choosing where you go.
Yeah.
I don't know why I stopped playing it. Okay. I think I just was not using what was I playing it on?
Steam.
Was it Steam?
Oh. Well, no, it was Game Pass. You were playing it on Game Pass, but on PC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, like it's good. It'd be an excellent mobile game too, I think.
Yeah. Well, so I was going to try it on the Steam Deck if I can. I think it runs on the Steam Deck. I started it. Actually, this is something I've been noticing lately with a bunch of games because I downloaded Cities Skyline the other day. I was watching some Spiffing Brit, and because Cities Skyline 2 came out, all the old Cities Skyline stuff is coming out. It's not out yet.
Yeah, it's coming out on Game Pass as well.
Yeah, which I'm going to play it. But so anyways, I was watching some YouTube, mostly Spiffing Brit, about Cities Skyline, and I fired it up on my laptop, and it gets so fucking hot. And the same thing with For the King. I grabbed it and I was going to play it while we were watching something. Danielle was watching something and I was going to play it. And like my laptop's like fucking on fire.
That's bizarre for the King, because that's not a heavy.
Well, this is the thing. Like most of these games that like, there's been a handful of games that just like I guess it's because they're not in any way optimized for the M2s or M series Max in general. So there's a lot of like emulation occurring or something. But yeah, I've been noticing that like the performance is fine, but it's like scorching hot.
Baldur's Gate runs like that on the Steam Deck.
Yeah, well, so Steam Deck struggles with a bunch of stuff in terms of heat, but like I expect that from the Steam Deck. Yeah. These things are like, this is a pretty smoking fast machine. It's just that I think partly because it's fanless and partly because they aren't optimized. Which is a bit of a shame. But I mean, I have the gaming PC, which is why I've been down here gaming, which is also sort of a knock-on effect of why I'm going to start streaming again. Because I'm like, if I'm already down here playing, I might as well go
turn
live.
on. Just turn on the cameras.
So thank you, Apple, or thank you, unoptimized games on MacBook for making me stream again. But yeah, I've been noticing that. So anyways, For the King, I'm going to play it. I bought it, but I haven't actually done. So this coming week, I think I'm going to.
It'll be one I think that you'll like. It's easy to like just play for like 15 minutes or whatever, put it down and then come back again.
It looked like it would kind of scratch an itch that exists for me between like Age of Empires and like Civ 6 or Civ 5 or whatever the fuck. it seems like it's kind of in between those two.
Mm-hmm.
Which, by the way, that complete non sequitur, it just reminded me of Sid Meier's Alpha Centauri, which is like a super old game, and now I have to play that game again. I'm gonna have to find it and play
I've
it.
never even heard of that one.
And I apologize if I just did the same thing to you watching, but it's basically Well, it's sort of like Civilization, but it's in space.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I mean, it's a Sid Meier's game,
Yeah.
so you can imagine what it's like. But it's
I remember playing Civilization 2, which honestly, out of all the Civ games, Civilization 2 and Civilization Revolution, I enjoyed the most.
Yeah.
But I think one of the goals in any Civilization game is to basically get to space.
Yeah.
And
that's one of the win conditions.
Yeah.
Basically.
I remember in Civ 2, they actually show like there's like a CG cinematic of the ship launching and then landing on Alpha Centauri. Yeah. And then Alpha Centauri came out shortly afterwards.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I played the hell out of that game. Yeah. It was great. I mean, it probably doesn't hold up at all, but I'm gonna have to get it and play it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, nostalgia games. Always
right?
kicking my ass. God, always, every time.
This is how I've been feeling with like a lot of the 2D stuff. Because I mean, if it's a 2D style game, I'll always take a look at it, and I do a little research and I'll read up on the reviews and stuff like that. And if reviews are mostly positive, I tend to give them a go.
Yeah.
But honestly, like I'm finding more and more now, like just that retro style of game is just my bread and butter. Like, don't get me wrong, I like a AAA title. You know, like I'm gonna play Starfield.
Yeah.
And like, you know, Ghost of Tsushima and all, you know, God of War Ragnarok. Like I like those big AAA titles. Spider-Man 2 is coming out soon, and I'm gonna probably play the shit out of that. But man, that retro style game just
it's
you right in the feels, you know. It just feels it's like when you go home and you have a home cooked meal.
It's a warm mug of cocoa.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it sounds like your type of quote unquote cozy game. It's not like the traditional cozy game genre, but it is the feel good style game for
It's
you.
my roast beef dinner.
Yeah. So I think I also think it's more than that. So I have the same sort of nostalgia around them to a large extent, but also I think part of it is, I talked about this a long time ago on the podcast about sort of degrees of freedom in games. Like design degrees of freedom, where it's like the more complex the game, the harder it is to make it good.
Yeah.
And so like the sort of simpler graphics, a lot of times side scrolly-ish games or top like isometric, whatever, sort of like limit your emotions to 2 dimensions sort of thing. They're just easier to do well.
Yeah.
They're just so much easier to do well.
Yeah.
And as a result, I think everybody to an extent who plays them and gives them a proper chance, I think most people sort of maybe not prefer them, but they get that sort of like, yeah, these games are like above average. They're like, they're better. They're good. And I think part of it is for us nostalgia, but I think also part of it is just on the whole, they're better games. It's harder to fuck them up.
Yeah. I mean, look at Stardew Valley.
Sure.
Look at Undertale.
Yep.
Undertale's, I mean, by no means are the graphics impressive, but the story's great. The gameplay in it is really, really good. It's clever. Like their battle system, it's insanely clever. It's really, really good.
Which also, for the record, makes it even more embarrassing that Blizzard managed to fuck up Diablo 4 so badly. Because man, that should have been a great game.
Yeah.
But no, I've been on a bit of a retro kick, but I've mostly been sort of grab bagging lately. I keep trying to play some new stuff, and every once in a while I find something good. I mean, Sea of Stars and Starfield are both new, so
Yep.
But the other thing, because I think we're pretty much at time getting there. The other thing that I wanted to just mention, because I'd actually like to hear anyone's thoughts on this from the community. I have started a video series. I have not released any of them yet, because I want at least the first 1 or 2 done before I release anything. But I'm doing a video series on building a D&D campaign, a full homebrew world, universe, culture, gods, planes, and an adventure. And I would be curious what aspects you would like to for me to focus on in those videos. So let me know.
Yeah.
And then I will ignore them. Chad will.
Well, no.
Not convincing, love.
Yeah, so that will be coming up, but it probably won't be coming up soon. Probably a month before I release the first video, realistically, unless I get like really into making them, because I don't want it to be like 4 months between videos. I want it to be somewhat consistent. So, but that is in the pipeline. So if you have any suggestions or questions that you would like to see me answer in those videos, please do comment or join me on Discord.
Hell yeah. And leave some comments down there below. What do you think about the whole Unity fiasco? Give us some of your favorite retro memories of any, retro games that you've enjoyed or are enjoying. Let us know down there.
And especially like board game stuff. I know we haven't talked about it a huge amount. Like we talked about Wingspan, but not too much on the board game front lately. That's partly because we don't know what to play. So if you're playing something new, whether your name is Richter or not, go ahead and let us know and we'll give it a shot, because we're always looking for board games to play.
Hell yeah. All right, Sarah.
All right.
Take us out.
All right. Thanks for joining us again this week. We are Dice 2 Pixels. Like, subscribe. Yeah, I know I did that.
No,
Don't
that
give
was
me
great.
that look.
That was great.
Yeah, but like, subscribe. Tell us what you're playing this week, what you're planning on playing. And again, the board game stuff. We need more board games to play. But yeah, we'll see you again next week. We love you all.
Tell 3 friends.
And I just noticed that her one nail was green.
I noticed that at the exact same time. All right, on that note, see ya.
Have a good week, folks.
Bye.